Hey everyone, Usman here. So today I am going to be doing my review for Marvel Studios' a special presentation, Werewolf by Night. It's a actual Halloween TV special that Marvel Studios developed. It's on Disney Plus right now as we speak. I'm going to be obviously talking about it, giving my thoughts, that type of stuff. Was it good? Was it bad? Was it scary? Was it not scary? Whatever, that type of stuff. And for any of you that are new to the channel, before I talk about any of that, don't forget to like and subscribe, as well as leave a comment letting me know, do you like Marvel delving into the horror aspect? Do you not like that? Do you, I don't know, just like horror as a genre in general? You can let me know down below in the comments. There really is quite a bit going on about this special, really. A lot of people have been saying, a lot of critics and everything like that, you know, this is one of the best specials or best things that Marvel's done in a while. Granted, you could probably say that about almost everything because that's kind of how it is. You know, people just say, oh, it's the best thing that so-and-so did. Best thing, best... Nothing is really set in stone without my approval or my thoughts. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking, clearly. Obviously joking. It's been getting a lot of great reviews. People saying it's like the best thing yet ever. Good homage to the 30s and 40s like horror films, all that kind of stuff, and saying it's like very dark and violent and stuff like that. And you know, they just like that sort of aesthetic, and you know, the dialogue's great, cinematography, like basically just any sort of like anything you can think of. I think the special is actually, yeah, it's pretty good. It's a really good, really nice short special. It's like 54 minutes, I think. It's like a 54-minute special, so it's not really long. It delves into basically, yeah, the character of Werewolf by Night, or Jack Russell. Basically, well, he's the main sort of like, you know, character. We follow him. But it's mainly about a group of monster hunters like going after this thing called the Bloodstone, which is essentially, you know, like a thing that I guess grants a form of power, like, and all that kind of stuff. I think the whole point of it is like, you know, there was a guy named, I think, Ulysses Bloodstone. This is, I guess, maybe somewhat spoilery for anybody who hasn't seen the special, so you kind of been warned. He's dead and everything like that, so he's basically just having them, you know, talking about like, oh, well, like his animatronic version or his corpse or something weird, I don't even know, says, yes, you all have to fight to get, or you have to go after the stone, and it's in a monster, and, you know, you have to go and, basically kill each other, hurt each other, no mercy, all that kind of stuff in order to get that stone. And if you get that stone before any one of them, then you will be powerful. Like, you know, that type of stuff. I mean, I did probably a really terrible explanation of what exactly was like the sort of the gist or like the plot, I guess, of this little special. But either way, it's like, you know, it kind of is like that. If I had to talk about sort of like the aesthetics of it, really, yeah, like I think it does follow the aesthetics pretty well. You know, kind of just going and delving into, yeah, the 30s and 40s and, you know, monster films and stuff. I think it does it pretty well. Like the filter that it uses, like the kind of like little things with like the black and white and like all those little things here and there, like those little, I don't know, like those little black blotches or something that come up from time to time when you're watching something that's old in black and white like that. I think they capture that pretty well. The opening of this special was actually kind of crazy because it started off with the Marvel MCU fanfare before like afterwards, and then, you know, and then it was like, and then there was like, ah, you know, like the screams and like a werewolf's, like, you know, his claw marks, and it was just like, that scared me in the beginning when I was listening to the fanfare. And then when time went on, then I was just like, oh, okay, I hope I'm prepared. But yeah, in all honesty, no, I just thought that was cool, like, you know, the aesthetic and everything like that, the way that they're following it. It kind of did, like, you know, that part scared me a little bit, so like, I guess maybe because I get scared pretty easily. I think the music actually is pretty, the score, as I usually say, I think the score is pretty good. It follows the proper sort of scary type of thing. Like this special is actually directed by a composer who also composed it, Michael Giacchino. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right. He composed it, and he also directed the special, so he was able to basically do both, and I think he did a pretty great job doing both, and with following just everything, following like the theme, the score basically that follows with the special and everything like that he's playing throughout this, giving it a true monster, old school monster type of feel. The storyline also as well kind of followed that as well, which was actually made it quite interesting for that kind of thing and everything. And I thought the characters were pretty interesting. Well, mainly just the two main characters. I think it was Elsa Bloodstone, played by an actress. I think her name is Laura Donnelly. And then Jack Russell, who's the werewolf, played by Gael Garcia Bernal. So they do have a good sort of, you know, good on-screen sort of dynamic, and the interactions are good in the little bit, you know, with the screen time we do get with them. Yeah, their acting is actually good. The small scenes that we see of them. The monster hunters, like, they kind of just look, I don't even know if they even have any names or anything like that. I think they're just there to like go after the Bloodstone or whatever, just like those other two, and then, you know, whatever. Yeah, and then there's like the main person, the main woman, like the Elsa Bloodstone. She has a stepmom. Her name is what's her name? Is Verusa, I think, Bloodstone. So she was married to Ulysses, who is currently dead. So yeah, there's like a lot of different sort of weird stuff going on, and tying that into everything and whatever. She doesn't like her, and Verussa doesn't like Elsa, and Elsa doesn't like Verussa. So like that type of thing. It's really fascinating with that dynamic. Also, there's also the monster that they show that he was also in the trailer is Man-Thing. He's like a swamp creature in the comics. I think he's like a botanist or a scientist that basically in a way just kind of transformed into a swamp creature. He's kind of like Swamp Thing, except I think Man-Thing was created before Swamp Thing, just by like a little bit, because Marvel and DC were kind of competing with each other and stealing each other's ideas a little bit. So they did pretty good with Man-Thing. For me, I don't really know that much about Man-Thing. I've heard about Man-Thing, I think, before Werewolf by Night. Same with Werewolf by Night, I didn't really know that much. But then after watching this, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool the way that they did their characters and, introducing it to, new audiences. So I think that they did pretty well. Man-Thing was cool. They kind of showed Man-Thing as being like the cute little sort of weird giant killer monster, which I was like, oh, okay. Man-Thing was actually cool. And, just the way that they utilized him. And I like how they're sort of expanding upon the MCU with bringing in like new sort of characters like a Werewolf by Night or Man-Thing. Characters that they never sort of were able to, that are very much like, C or D list characters like that nobody's ever really heard of. I heard about these characters kind of, but I didn't really know that much. I knew that Werewolf by Night fought Moon Knight in the comics, and Moon Knight got introduced in a Werewolf by Night comic book. I never, actually, knew that much about him. Moon Knight I knew about it, but I like how it's able to tell its story within the 50 minutes so window. It's not like a long TV series type of thing. Otherwise, I think expanded upon the plot, it just would have been, I think, a little too long. They're able to tell their story within 50 plus minutes, and I think that's really cool. Less than an hour. Or like the werewolf, we don't really see the werewolf until probably later on down the line. Like literally towards like I think the third act or something is when of this special is when we see the werewolf. I like how they actually use practical effects. I think they said they used practical effects in this special, and I kind of like how they did that. I think I heard the only thing that was CGI was Man-Thing, and Man-Thing, he actually did look fine for the thing. For the special. I thought he was fine. Some people probably complain about that. For me, I'm like, it didn't bother me. As usual, visual effects don't really bother me. I'll complain a little bit about it, saying maybe it did sort of seem a little bit jarring or weird, but for the most part, visual effects do not give me some sort of like, oh my gosh, this ruined the whole thing for me. That's not like a giant sort of like complaint of mine for anything. It really isn't. But the way that they showcased the werewolf was pretty cool. Design for Werewolf by Night was awesome. And showing the sort of the transformation of Jack Russell into Werewolf by Night was cool. When I think of like these characters that basically are just regular humans that turn into monsters, I just think of the Hulk and, obviously there's the Jekyll and Hyde thing, but I just like think of the Hulk from Marvel. Well, he's much more notable as a character, obviously, but at the same time, I just kind of like that more. But I don't mind like and there've been copycats, obviously. You know what? Just seeing him turn into a werewolf, seeing all that stuff was actually pretty awesome. I wasn't really scared actually through the special. I mean, maybe a couple things like I mentioned, but it wasn't something that was like scared me so much. I was like, oh my gosh, whatever. But they did delve into the horror bit a little bit more with something like this than they did with something like Doctor Strange. But I heard with Doctor Strange it was more horror elements. It wasn't exactly like full on like we'll see what happens like later on down the line with these characters. I hope that we had this chance to see these characters again, because I don't want it to just be a one-off. I mean, they could do a one-off and that's fine. There's no post-credit scene, but like I hope that we get to see more than that. It's a pretty good special. It's something that I think delivers pretty well, and it's good that it released sort of around the October time. I've seen the special I think twice now, so it's good, really good. It's rewatchable. It's not my favorite Marvel thing this year, but I think it's one of the top Marvel things that in Phase 4 as well as this year in general. So that's what I think really delivers. Yeah, and I hope Werewolf by Night we get to see him interact and fight Moon Knight. Proper, I guess, introduction into the super. I mean, they kind of did that sort of with Moon Knight, but I think this particular special kind of served more as an introduction, I guess. Should check it out. It's on Disney+. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Werewolf by Night. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.